Hello everyone, my name is Sudhindra. I'm a customer engineer at Google. The purpose of this video is to show you how to install and configure Edge Microgateway. Edge Microgateway is Node.js based, so one of the prerequisites is you need to have Node.js 4.x LTS or later versions installed on your computer. It can run on any Linux or Windows based operating system as long as they support Node.js. If you're a Windows user, in addition to Node.js, you also need to install OpenSSL and add it to your path. And finally, you also need to have an account with Apigee Edge. So it could be a trial instance or a paid instance that you have already have. So you could use the same thing for installing Edge Microgateway. If you're new to Apigee Edge Microgateway, you don't know a lot about it, so you can always go back to this documentation link. As always, we have very comprehensive documentation on how to use Microgateway. All right, let's get started. This is my box. I already have Node.js installed on this. So the version that I have is 6.11, which is good. To install Edge Microgateway, you have to use npm. So the command is npm install -g edge micro. If you use the -g option, it will be installed and accessible globally within your computer. The installation could take anywhere between 1 to 2 minutes depending on the network speed. Just to save some time, I have already installed Microgateway on this particular box. So once it is installed, you can run edge micro -version. So this will give you the version of the micro gateway that is installed. The current version that I have is 2.4.6. That is the latest version at the time of this recording. Once the micro gateway is installed, the next thing that you need to do is just execute the init command. The init command initializes the micro gateway, and it also creates the template configuration file that is required for creating the connection between micro gateway and Apigee Edge. Now that the initialization is done, the next step is to create the connection between micro gateway and Apigee Edge instance that is running on Apigee Cloud. You do that using the configure command, edge micro configure, organization name, environment name, and you use your argadmin credentials. When you specify all these attributes, what micro gateway does is it goes to Edge, register itself, and Edge gives it a pair of values, the key and secret values. The key and secret values are important because they are used by Edge to identify the micro gateway uniquely. So now we have the key and secret that are created for this micro gateway instance. Before we start letting the micro gateway handle the traffic locally, we need to configure the API proxies. And as always, we need to create a product, and we have to associate the API product to an app so that the app can start consuming that API, right? So let's switch to the Edge management UI. That's where the configuration of the API proxy, product, and application will be done. For this video, what I have created is I have created a simple pass-through proxy. It is called edge micro underscore HTTP bin. It is a very simple proxy. When I hit this endpoint, it's going to call the backend, which is HTTP bin in this case. The only thing that you need to know is the name of this proxy has to be edge micro underscore. The Edge micro underscore is an indication to micro gateway to download this API proxy configurations and handle the traffic locally. That's the only thing that you need to remember when you create the API proxy. If I switch to the develop tab, I don't have any policies configured here. All the policy configurations that need to happen for micro gateway will happen on the micro gateway instance itself. The next thing that you need to know is I need to have a product created. I already have created a product for this. It's called internal APIs, and I also have a application which is associated to my product. When I ran the configure command, in addition to creation of that wiring that I talked about, micro gateway also does an interesting thing. It creates a special proxy called edge micro hyphen auth. So this proxy is used by micro gateway to generate the token, to validate the token, verify the API key. So all the functionalities related to security and other configurations for the micro gateway happen with edge micro auth proxy. The only thing that I need to do before I start making calls to the micro gateway is associate this Edge Micro Auth to the product that I already have created. So let me go back to the product screen, make an edit to my API product, and include the API product that I wanted is internal APIs. Make an edit, include Edge Micro Auth proxy that was created. Also notice that I have resources slash and slash star star added as part of this product, so which indicates that anything on base path and sub URLs that are a part of the API proxy should be accessible. I'll just save the API product and click on the API application that I want to use. Copy the API key or the consumer key because that is required for me to make the call. The by default API proxies that are hosted on MicroGateway are either secured with API key or with the token. So I'm going to, in the example, I'm going to use the API key. Now that I have all the configuration done, let me switch back to the micro gateway instance that I have. And let me start the micro gateway. The command to start micro gateway is edge micro start, specify the organization name, specify the environment, and specify the key and secret that are created in the previous step. Okay, now I hit enter. When I start the micro gateway, what it does is it goes to the edge instance that is supposed to which is originally configured. It downloads all the API proxies that starts with edge micro underscore. So the proxy that we created had that, so it will download that configuration. Along with that, it will also download the API product configuration. Now the API, my Edge Micro Gateway is running. Let's make a couple of calls to this particular API proxy. I'm going to do that by using the curl command. As you can see, I have curl. This is the IP address of the machine on which my Micro Gateway instance is running. Port 8000 is the default port. This is the base path of my API proxy. /get is the resource on which the data is available. -h, I'm including the API key, x-API-key. That's the custom header that I need to specify as part of the request. And this is the value that I copied from here. I just want to make sure, yeah, that's the same value. If I hit enter, what it does is it made a call to the Edge Micro Gateway, and Edge Micro Gateway made a call to the backend, in my case, the HTTP bin proxy, and it gave me a response back. Now, if I, just to test the scenario, if I don't pass the API key as part of the header, then it should fail because the API proxy has to be by default it's secure. So as you can see, it says missing authorization. That means the API proxy, when I made the call, I did not pass the required credentials, in this case the API key. That's about it, right? So in a matter of 10 to 15 minutes, we were able to download the Edge Micro Gateway, and we were able to configure to uh, you know create the establishment between create the connectivity between Edge Micro Gateway and Edge, and then we made a call, successful a call to the Edge Micro Gateway instance, and we saw the response back. In the future videos, we will take it to the next level where we start adding more policies onto the proxies that we created for Edge Micro Gateway. If you have any questions, please ask them on community.apigee.com. Thank you for watching this video.